Hello YouTube family, thanks for tuning in to my videos, for those of you who do, as I try to break down the BS of our socio-political existence here on this globe. If you like the videos, please give it a like. If you've not subscribed, consider subscribing to the channel, as that will help the channel grow. And again, thanks for watching the videos. Thanks for joining me on this video, and unfortunately for this video, we have Hurricane Ida made landfall this week in Louisiana and did a lot of damage. Ida was a Category 4 hurricane when it hit. It is the fifth most powerful hurricane to hit the mainland United States in our history. There's at least 4 deaths. That's just counting Louisiana. I mean, beyond Louisiana, you have Ida that turned into a tropical depression that moved up through Missouri, Tennessee. Now it's up in New Jersey, New York, and headed on up that way, causing more damage. I know there are more deaths as Ida continues north. Even as a tropical depression, it's causing, the storm is causing flooding, and it's causing deaths. For New Orleans, the good news is the levees held up. As far as what I read, all of the levees in in New Orleans held up. The rest of southeast Louisiana was not as lucky. Levees did give out in southeast Louisiana, causing massive flooding, causing rushing seawater that destroyed homes, businesses, injured people, took lives. Experts predict in Louisiana alone there's over $80 billion of damages from Hurricane Ida. And as I said, now Ida is a tropical depression as it moves on northward through Tennessee, Ohio, up to the northeast. And it's tragic. Anytime we have these things happen, it's tragic, but it's also, at this point, expectable because of climate change. We have a situation now where we are dealing with late-stage climate change, which is we are having a great deal of natural disasters that are happening more frequently. They're higher in intensity, and so it's doing more damage to people, to homes, to environments, and it's getting worse and worse. So as far as this goes, Ida at one point would have been referred to as the storm of a century. Now it's not the storm of a century. Another Ida could happen as soon as later this year or next year. And so no, Ida is not the storm of a century. It's going to happen again within the next few years, a Category 4 or 5 hurricane. And along with, we know global warming, climate change is what's causing these insane natural disasters, stuff like Hurricane Ida, stuff like the wildfires that are burning the west coast of the United States. Ida became a crisis within a crisis, which is that we're still dealing with the coronavirus, and Louisiana is a bright red state surrounded by bright red states, because southern states in this country, after Nixon's southern switch, southern strategy, whatever you want to call it, became Republican. You have all of these bright red right-wing states. Louisiana's one. The surrounding states are others. And you have hospitals, assisted living facilities, and nursing homes that had to evacuate people. You have smaller hospitals, and you have larger regional medical centers. And so the smaller hospitals that deal with much lower number of patients were trying to be moved to larger regional medical centers, and The problem that the governor of Louisiana, who is John Bel Edwards, was realizing is that because of COVID-19 and the Delta variant and the way it's ravaging particularly red states, red counties, where people are highly unvaccinated, there's no space. They don't got the room in the hospitals in Louisiana, in the hospitals in neighboring states. They don't got the room. And one of the things you deal with a pandemic like coronavirus is a hospital, even a large regional medical center, may have 1,000 beds. But they don't have the staffing for 1,000 beds, for people to be filling up 1,000 beds, because most of the time they don't have 1,000 beds full. And so they're not going to pay for nurses and doctors and all of this stuff for patients that aren't there. And because we have this insane for-profit medical system, what they're looking at is money. We don't want to cut our profits, so we're not going to have nurses to staff our entire facility. And I guess the rationale there for the business folks, that the bean counters that run the hospital's bookkeeping, is that if something catastrophic happens, surely we'll have, warning ahead of time, and so we can ramp up. No, that's not necessarily the case. Sometimes you have a hurricane and you have people being evacuated, and all of a sudden you need to ramp up, and you're like, oh, well, all the beds we can actually maintain are full. We have empty beds and we can put people in there, but then we're going to start dividing the attention of the nurses and the doctors between a much larger group of patients, and they're not getting necessarily particularly good care when the doctor or nurse only has maybe a minute and a half with them every 4 hours per day, whatever the case may be, depending on how full they're getting. A statement from the Louisiana governor, John Bel Edwards, is, I hate to say it this way, but we have a lot of people on ventilators today and they don't work without electricity. And that's the other problem with a hurricane, is you have somewhere around 1 million people in Louisiana without power. You've got people in other states without power. As Hurricane Ida turned into Tropical Depression Ida and ripped its way on up through the Northeast. And so all these states are dealing with a need for clean water, a need for electricity. You have people like Republican governors like John Bel Edwards asking for generators to help run hospitals so that people don't die because they weren't prepared for this. And they didn't set this stuff up before ahead of time. And because of coronavirus and how irresponsible the red states and red counties have been with coronavirus, there's no space. Their ICU beds are full. Their hospital beds are full. Their doctors and nurses are running to the point of exhaustion. I mean, I just did a video talking about the doctor walkout in Florida where they were just exasperated from having to deal with people who were sick. And when their sickness was highly preventable, because all they had to do was go to Walgreens or CVS or wherever, Walmart, and get a vaccine. And they wouldn't have been dealing with these people. And I understand the frustration. I understand the frustration of people aren't doing what they need to do. And there's no easy answer for it. You have Louisiana that was stuck because they were stuck between COVID and a hurricane. And they had no outs. Neighboring states were like, too bad, so sad. Our hospitals are full, but we're not getting hit by a hurricane, so we're not as bad as you. I mean, Republican governors have shown over the last several years they absolutely do not care about human life. Like I said, they don't care if you or I die. They don't care about the peasants. For them, it's all about money and power, making it to the next rung on the political ladder. And that's where they're at. But hopefully there will be aid that comes along. Hopefully the Biden administration will get FEMA out there and will start helping rebuild lives that were upended by the hurricane. Hopefully, since the levees held in New Orleans, hopefully the southeastern side of the state will put up levees like New Orleans did after Katrina, so that they will hold hopefully in the next hurricane. Because the next one is coming. It's a matter of whether it's a year out or 3 years out. It's coming. It's going to happen. I can tell the governors, whether they're Democrat, Republican, or whoever, the next hurricane is coming. It's not very far away either, because climatologists have told us all of these events are going to happen more often. They're going to happen more frequently. They're going to be more intense. You're going to start seeing storms happen where they sometimes don't happen, like winter storms in Texas. Heat waves in areas that don't normally have heat waves. Like insane heat waves, like what's been going on this summer. I mean, for a while you had the heat dome over the western states. I am in one of those states, Nevada, and it was extremely hot. And then beyond that, we ended up with a heat dome over the entire United States, entire continental United States. You've got heat waves in Canada. It's insane. But it's going to happen more and more. And I wish Republicans would drop the politics and just start getting on board with requiring people to get vaccinated, so we can get past coronavirus, so the next crisis does not compound on top of coronavirus like Ida did with Louisiana. I mean, it's unfortunate for the people in Louisiana, because the people there are always the ones who are going to suffer. The people who are your average middle class and lower class workers just working and earning a living, they're the ones who are going to suffer because of the fecklessness of the politicians who don't care. If you live, if I live, we die, they don't care. Money, power, that's all that matters. And hopefully people in Louisiana will start voting people like John Bel Edwards out. Get somebody in there who gives a damn about people more so than corporations and money and their next rung on the political ladder, but I'm not going to hold my breath. Anyway, thanks for watching the video. I hope you all have a good day.